I am the infamous. I am the infamous. Always in infamy. A goon descended from the hill, dressed in fire and blood. And so it is. Dvine number 9, Hermit card, 2025, Southnode, Virgo. What's it all about? The Green Lantern. What's it all about? Let's get the understanding. Virgo, Scorpio, Vesta. Number 5, Hierophant, Sagittarius. How does it all come together? Let's get the understanding. The understanding is the best part. Now, you've been hearing it being said that 2025 is a year of the vibration number 9. This is a number 9 year. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. But what I would hope to be the case is that we're not just regurgitating what we hear. We're not just repeating what we hear somebody say. We're not just passing around words, verbiage, regurgitation. Understand? Let's get the understanding. Let's get the understanding. Why is it number 9? What makes it number 9 besides the fact that 5, 2, and 2 equals 9? What makes it 9? How does 9 find its way as a manifest experience into our reality? And what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with you? Where can we find number 9 manifest into our reality? To know where we going, we got to know where we came from, of course, right? So where we're coming from, 2024 was a vibration number 8, but what makes that number 8? What do we go through that gave us the theme, the experience of the number 8 vibration? What was it about 2024 that made it a year of 8? Besides a regurgitation of, oh, this gonna be a year of money. This gonna be a year of making money. But come to find out, it's the same as any other year when it comes to the economics. In fact, it turned out worse than that. So how could that be the case? We need the understanding. Let's change who we are and not be people who are regurgitating and repeating things without attempting to understand why we're saying it. Let's get the understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. It's not enough to know. Everybody knows this is the age of knowledge. It's the age of information. You can swipe and know anything you want to know, but wisdom is a different story. Wisdom is the principal thing. With wisdom, you're able to explain what you know. And to get understanding with the wisdom, how do you get understanding with the wisdom? What does it mean in the proverb, and with all thy getting, get understanding? How? What does that mean? It simply means to ask the question, why? That's what it means to get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, apply what you know to have experience behind what you know. Test what you know. Test the hypothesis that you hold against what you know. Be disagreeable in what you know so that you can arrive at wisdom. Criticizing what you know. That's the principle of Gemini, and that's the principle of Virgo. To criticize what you know, to test what you know, to examine what you know, to push against what you know. And this comes from a disagreeable nature, not agreeable nature. You cannot come to wisdom through agreement. You come to wisdom through disagreement in the test of what you know. That is divine masculine. Number 9, Hermit, Southnode, Virgo. Thank you very much. All right. Number 9, Hermit, Southnode, Virgo, 2025. Thank you very much. And this is through her, who? Mercury. Mercury is at the South Node and is hosting the vibration 9. Mercury is hosting a vibration 9 because it's also incorporating Gemini, which the year is starting out with the retrograde of Jupiter. Jupiter at the higher learning, the crown chakra, bearing understanding, asking the question why, going back to the what? The 9th house. The 9th house, number 9. The 9th house. And the 9th house is who? Sagittarius. Sagittarius reflects what? The number 5. Thank you very much. The Hierophant. Number 5, the Hierophant. Number 5, the Hierophant. Sagittarius, 9th house. Number 9, Jupiter at Gemini. The Lord of Gemini, Mercury, is hosting number 9 vibration at the South Node. So if we bring this to full circle, asking the question why is what arrives us at understanding. That is the principle of Gemini and Virgo. It's not enough to know something. Any dummy, any monkey can get in front of a camera and repeat and regurgitate, can woe you and spellbind you with knowledge. We are coming out of the spells of Venus. We're coming out of the magic and the sorcery and the witchcraft of Venus. That spellbinds you with knowledge and information. Overwhelms you with knowledge and information to where you are so impressed. You are so wowed. You are put in a spell. Oh, this is so cool. I love the way they said that. I love the way they said this. And you walk away understanding nothing. You still haven't arrived at the truth, and you have an abundance of knowledge and information sitting right in front of you, and you still don't understand nothing. How could that be? It's not sincere. It's vanity. Venus, false light, Luciferic light, the light bearer. The one who attempts to imitate the divine sun, S-U-N. Christ impulse, the true and authentic light that number 9 brings us back to be reborn through our authenticity, which is the 5th house in the 1st house, Mars in the sun, Mars Kazemi. Understand? Rebirthing ourselves through the sun to become authentic. How do we do that? We consult the light within. We consult the light of the heart, the illumination of the heart. And that is between the moon and the sun. Your intuition and your inner knowing. But first you have to get in touch with the hermit. But the hermit does not come to you until you isolate yourself. And how do you isolate yourself? You go through the Hierophant process. And the Hierophant process of the number 5 numerical value is to come out of the world and into your divine calling. To come out of your false identity. To come out of the fakeness. To come out of the attempts to imitate life, to imitate art with life. Into the reality of why you came to earth, your destiny, your purpose, and to have the courage and resilience to step up and fulfill it, to transform yourself through the Virgo process, denying yourself of that which spoils the end result of the divine self, retracting yourself from that of the world which ruins and corrupts and corrodes the spirit, the mind, the heart, coming out of it. Rebirthing yourself in the cave, going in the cold cave of isolation until it becomes solitude. It is isolation as long as we resist it. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be by myself. I got to be with somebody. I got to be surrounded by people. I got to be running my damn mouth all the time to people. having noise and chaos and distraction. That is Jupiter in Gemini retrograde right now, giving us an introspect to decipher the difference between noise and divine calling. The voice of the inner divine and the noise around us that we have been entertaining that's been distracting us from initiating the process of transformation in ourselves that we have been called to, but been refusing because we've been listening to the noise instead of the divine calling inside. The hermit, when he arrives with the green lantern, trying to show you the illumination of your own heart, but you resist it because of the cognitive dissonance, confused at the difference between the light of Venus and the light of the sun. The green light is now illuminated for us to find our way back to the divine self and rebirth ourselves, where Isis places Osiris on the lap, the rebirth of the Christ impulse of the self, the illumination of the heart, true wisdom. Understand. And wisdom collectively is Aquarius, the water bearers, bringing that which is essential to humanity as a service, as an understanding, as evolution. Where we are important, not I am important. Where we bring our gourds of water to serve the collective and not just ourselves. Where what we say and what we do has innovative opportunity, has revolutionary force, and has rebellious grit to establish the truth firmly in this earth, in this life. But there's a process before we become qualified to do such. When you look at the year, the number on the end, the 5, for example, it represents what we had to go through in hindsight in order to arrive at the collective number 9. So 5 and 9 are in reconciliation. We have to go through the 5 before we get to the 9. An example, if you look at 2024, to get to the 8, the illumination of 8, you're in the shadow of 8 as long as you are stuck in a 4. So 4 in and of itself keeps you in the shadow of 8. But when you reconcile with the 4, you have the illumination of the 8 rather than the shadow of the 8. It's the same with the 5. Until we reconcile with the 5, we are in shadow of the 9 rather than illumination of the 9. And the shadow of the 9 is that we are resistant to isolation. And the resistance to isolation, it misses the point of isolation. It misses the aim of isolation. And we fall into perversions. And we fall into the perversions of the 12th house, where in isolation, the 12th house opens up. The voices of the 12th house speak louder. The curses of the 12th house becomes more pronounced, and they pick up forms, and they approach you. They propose to you. They make offerings to you. They make deals with you before that you reconcile with the number 5. You are fighting the isolation of the 12th house. You are resisting the isolation of the 12th house before you go through the Hierophant process of Sagittarius in the 9th house, following the Lord of Jupiter, the Lord Jupiter over the process of Sagittarius and the number 5 energy. This is what's taking place. We are misappropriating and mispurposing. We are mishandling the opportunity that is in isolation. Falling into depression. Eating unhealthy things out of depression. Constantly dialing up DoorDash and eating yourself into obesity. Hypersexuality. Casual sex because you're depressed. Sleeping with people and making babies with people who are clearly your enemies. But all because you're bored and because you're depressed and you got low self-esteem. When you're by yourself, your demons surround you. Instead of addressing it, instead of finding the resilience through Scorpio, you submit to it. So now all of your vices of the 12th house, they come out and they plague you. They make themselves known. It pronounces itself to you, and now you're surrounded by all of these demons because you have not taken an assertive and aggressive approach to deal with it, to transform that isolation into solitude. Because when it is transformed into solitude, now you are willingly by yourself. You are willingly embracing the opportunity of being alone. Because when you are alone, you know you are never alone. Because when you are alone, you are with the divine, and you and God are one. And now you understand the opportunity of the 12th house. Now you see the illumination of the 12th house. Now you see the blessing of the 12th house. And now you are able to see that every impulse, every energy and algorithm and or sign of the 12th house is there to bless you. It's there to give you unconditional love, compassion, understanding that you could afford to the world. And it becomes abundance. It becomes healing for you interchangeably as well. It dissolves all of your sicknesses. It heals the blood. It purifies the blood. Pisces rules the blood. Saturn is moving through Pisces. Saturn is moving through Pisces. So this is a timely vibration and alignment of that number 9. Embracing isolation until it becomes solitude. The Hermit approaches you in isolation. And sooner or later, you will learn to listen to the heart, to listen to the instincts. And this brings together Scorpio and Virgo, which is Vesta. When you bring Scorpio and Virgo together, which is Vesta, you now have a unity with the divine self, and it burns away that which is not divine. And now you can discern the difference between noise and divine intuition. You can discern the difference between noise and the voice of your instinct. And the instinct is between Mars and the moon. And when you pair Mars and the moon and Jupiter, which is in Gemini, now you have Pallas Athena, the perfect strategy that never conflates with, that never goes against your destiny. Strategy that always arrives you at your destiny every single time. Pallas Athena. This is reconciliation with all of your forces. This is harmonizing all of your forces, but not without going through each step. You will not skip steps. You will not. 2024, we were reconciling with 4. What is 4? 4 is Earth. The Earth trine or trine. Tomato, tomato, however you say it. That is Virgo. That is Capricorn. That is Taurus. And this had to do with Ahrimanic impulses. Ahrimanic impulses. Materialism. Vanity. Competition. Consumerism. All of the shadows of the number 8 vibration, which 4202 forms the number 8 vibration, but the shadow. Institutionalization. Corruption through capitalism. Corruption through corporations. All of these things had to be reconciled. We had to reconcile with the shadow of the 4 in order to get to the illumination of the 8. We're reconciling with the shadow of the 5 to reconcile the 9. The shadow of the 5 is to resist leaving a burning world. Leaving a world of Venus, Luciferic light, illusions, delusions, misconceptions, misinformation, false light, fool's gold, things that shine but lead you nowhere, things that entertain you but wasted your time, things that captured your attention, impressed you, wowed you, put you in a spell, bound you into excitement and lust with your astral body, but it gave you nothing but a lump of coal in return. Dead ends. a world of art and delusion, Luciferic. To reconcile with the Luciferic, to leave the Luciferic world behind burning in order to save yourself and go into the realities of truth through illumination of the sun, the heart, the true world, which is a perception that we turn on through the heart. And that perception is a transfer of what we hold value to. What now has value now that we see through these illusions? It's an exchange of what is value. You are giving one value to regain another value. And that is you are given value of the earth so that you can regain value of heaven in your identity. You are exchanging. Sacrificing what you once coveted of the world, coveted of the earth, coveted of your status, coveted of certain groups and belongings, of pop culture, in exchange for a piece of yourself, a portion of yourself that you sold in order to belong. This is the number 5. To come out of that which is attractive, that which is popular, that which is viral, in order to have the peace of silence, quiet, solitude, rest, clarity, sobriety. The number 5 is about regaining a sober mind from the high of life and those distractions. A world where women take over and paint it pink and dress with magic, witchcraft, entertainment, and lust. Distractions, noise, yap, 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 talking, and talking about absolutely fucking nothing. This is number 5, reconciliation, the Hierophant card. Understand, Sagittarius. Stepping into the passionate fire of the truth. The passionate fire of truth through number 9. And number 9 means you had to have a teacher. You had to have a guru. You had to have a scholar. You had to have someone of correct understanding to illuminate you, to set you on fire so that it can spread in your life and set you free. The 9th house. The 9th house. In opposition to the 9th house, or the polarity of the 9th house, it is the 3rd house. People who you are normally influenced by, who program your perception, your way of thinking. People who program your critical thinking skills. And you have to go to the 9th house to ascend to the character that you were meant to have, the understanding that you were meant to have in order to fulfill your MC, your 10th house, your midheaven. But that's through higher learning. Proper teachers, proper educators, people who really understand what they say, not just know and regurgitate. The 9th house is not a place of false light. It's a place of true light. It's a place of what? Competence, not just confidence. Venus is a place of confidence. Jupiter is a place of competence. There is a difference. Competence is not so sweet and it's not so glittery. Venus is sweet and it is glittery, but it will fool you if you are immature enough to keep falling for it. This is what the 5 is about. Reconciliation with that illusion. You have to reconcile with that illusion, falling for the okie doke. If you're still impressed with pretty girls, big butts, music, materialism, Louis Vuitton and Versace and all of this other stuff, consumerism culture, music just takes you out of your mind. Atmospheres of action and this and that, the entertainment of Venus, the distraction of Venus, the artful assimilation of life with Venus. You're just delusional. You can't separate reality from noise. You fall for anything. If it's entertaining enough, attractive enough, eloquent enough, charismatic enough, you're sold, and you will sell your soul in order to obtain it. That's what this 5 is about. Until we reconcile with that, we can't get on the illuminated side of the number 9. What is the dark side of the number 9? As I said before, it is when you treat being alone as isolation rather than solitude. That's all it is. As long as you are in lust with that number 5 energy, resisting that number 5 energy that is, you would treat being alone as isolation. I hate this. I can't stand being in a house. Oh, I gotta go get the noise. I gotta go be a part of this. I gotta go hear this. I gotta go do this. I gotta. But you can't never sit your motherfucking ass down because you don't want to deal with the demons in your own head, in your own heart that keep terrorizing you, that keep antagonizing you, that keep asking you to come and deal with them, but you keep running away from it. You got to turn the noise up, turn the music up, surround yourself with people. You got to have some turn up at every goddamn minute, and that's why your life's so fucked up. That's why you so fucked up. That's why you full of curses and your kids full of curses too. Because you can't sit the fuck down and listen to the divine in itself. You can't sit down. You can't do that. That's too much like right. I can't do that. We have to get to illuminated side of number 9, embracing it, knowing what it is for. That number 9 process is there to bless you with a deep personal connection to the divine. As I said before, Vesta and Juno is in Scorpio, returning us and restoring our relationship with common sense. The amygdala, Mars, the instinct, Scorpio, Pluto, understand, instincts, common sense. Just like Thomas Paine wrote in 1776 when Pluto was at the same place that it's at right now. Common sense was a theme back then and it's a theme right now, and the same thing was trying to get you away from women. Women and their damn foolishness. Way back in 1776, it was women too, but with the throne, the queen. And common sense is what gets you the fuck out the delusional world of women. And I'm speaking to women too, because women can be fooled by women too, if you let them. You have to get in touch with the divine, not to keep falling for the spells of magic and the witchcraft that women spell over the world and fool you with. They are the ones who give their divine power to it, and it's not intentional. They can't help themselves if they don't have husbands. They can't help themselves if they didn't have fathers. They can't help themselves. This is why women must have fathers, and this is why women must have husbands if they leave their father. Because they will do more damage than good when they by their damn self. They will fuck some shit up. Because they have magical powers. They have the powers of witchcraft innate in the spirit, in the being. But they don't know it. Understand? I'm not saying it's intentional, but I am saying it's the case. The number 5 carries charisma, attraction, beguile, allure, lust, beauty, design, art, eloquence, all these things. And it's a crisis if you are still under the spell of these things. But once you are no longer under the spell of these things and you see the truth through the green light of the lantern of the heart of the hermit who comes to you once you accept isolation as an opportunity for solitude. The hermit comes and teaches you. And when the hermit teaches you, this is the divine teaching you from the 9th house. The 9th house is not always a physical person, but the 9th house is also when you get in touch with yourself, your hermit within the self that brings a green lantern to you to illuminate the heart. You are illuminating your 9th house, and your 9th house is blessing you with divine understanding. It's illuminating your crown chakra through Jupiter. And this understanding gives you spiritual competence. Now you are immune to the crisis that's on the left side of number 5, the burning bridge. And you're safely on the other side of that burning bridge to save yourself. 5 represents religion, Sagittarius. Religion is not necessarily to choose to be a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew, but it is to simply incorporate Saturn within your spiritual practice so that you can redeem yourself. to incorporate Saturn in your spiritual practice so that you can put on form, which is character, to be consistent with the spiritual principles and values that you would proclaim otherwise. Because otherwise you're a liar, you're a fraud. You're just somebody who's speaking. You're just artful and deception and deceptive, just like Satan, just like Lucifer, Venus. You ain't nothing but a liar. If you don't have Saturn in your spiritual walk, you have nothing. You are void. You are irrelevant. Because Saturn is what makes your character, your 10th house, your capacity to uphold the responsibilities and duties of being that person. Saturn is what allows you to do that. And look what Saturn is at right now. It's in Pisces as we are bringing in 2025. The beginning process starts with Saturn, which is make religion of your spiritual belief and ideals, which is simply to add and incorporate discipline, order, structure, obedience into your spiritual walk until it becomes one in the spirit, where the spirit no longer resists it, but embrace it. And now it is solitude rather than isolation, simply because Saturn gave you the form and the character to accept it as solitude rather than isolation. And now you are reborn through number 9, Hermit card, divine process, Virgo, reborn. You are the Osiris sitting on the lap of Isis, Virgin Mary. Understand that. The number 9 life path and heart soul urge number, it usually comes as a destined pathway, experience, opportunity of transformation for a person who in past life had a crisis with Venus. So those who have life path number 9 or heart soul urge number 9, you will see that there are restrictions from their past life concerning Venus and possibly Neptune as well. Okay, as Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. So it's a balancing factor. It's a balancing factor. Like a life path number 9 person, for example, could have Venus in the 9th house, in the 12th house. Or they could have Venus conjunct Saturn. They could have Venus in a debilitated position, okay, where that Venus is not having full expression, precedence, or domination within their life. And this is usually because in the past life, they were in crisis or detriment, spoil, or overindulgence in the Venus themes. So we as a collective are subject to, at the Southnode, a point of reconciliation with Venus or females, okay? So a lot of you out there, see, people could be in their feelings like, oh, why he always getting on females or whatever. Nigga, this is what the fuck the universe is saying. Don't get mad at me, nigga. Get mad at God. Get mad at God, because this is what the fuck is saying. And if you don't like it, it's still going to run back into you and address you. It's still going to come and present to you disillusionment from the same truth that you're trying to run to, because you and your fucking feelings, because you don't want it to be about females, but it is. It is about females. And what you're going to find with reconciliating the number 5 energy is you're going to have to learn to pull yourself out of and turn your back on all those things that females would want you to like, what females would want you to do, what females will want you to be, what females will want you to support, what females will want you to uphold. Everything that the female covets, you have to turn away from it. And that is how you save yourself from the number 5 vibration. Everything that females in this society celebrates and upholds, it's a number 5 vanity Venus. Does this have to do with more so conservative women? No, it's a different story. This is more so in the context of liberal females, feminists, females who do not have control of their nature, females who are in immaturity with themselves, in crisis with themselves, who misuse and abuse their powers and their forces, their nature as women, and who become magicians, who become witches through this energy. Understand? So 5 is reconciliation coming out of crisis with females, coming out of the wicked subjugation with females. That is what the Hierophant is really all about. It's coming out of a world that's plagued by the imagination of females. It's coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah and saving your damn self as it burns, turning into a pillar of salt. Understand, that's what this is about. You want me to tell you what you want to hear? You want me to coddle you? You want me to take my gifts that God gave me and make it serve your imagination and your feelings? No, fuck you. Take a walk, jerk. I'm not here for that. You're going to take the truth or you're not. And this is what's being expressed. This is the case with the number 5. It's that reconciliation is coming back to divine number 9, masculine. Divine number 9, masculine through Virgo. Understand? Masculine through Virgo, which simply means order is required. Discipline is required. Accountability is required. Strength is required. Recreation is required. This is what it means. It's the same order of when Eve took of the fruit in the garden. Who did God come to? God didn't go to Eve. God went straight to Adam in the garden. He heard Adam in the garden. He said, Adam, where art thou? That's what this is. 5 is the crisis of females taking the fruit in the garden. And number 9 is God coming to Adam saying, Adam, where art thou? Divine masculine. So God is calling you in the garden of the self. Adam, where art thou? Logic, reason, common sense, divine identity, authority of self, wisdom in self. Where art thou? And calling Adam to the forefront to take charge in every one of us. Accountability. Adam, where art thou? And that's what this is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like me. But the truth is always going to win and prevail at the end of the day. Understand? There are 2 energies that I want us to keep in mind with the number 9, with this transit that we have. Virgo and Scorpio are equals in this transformation. Virgo and Scorpio. When Christ, as a principle, was on the cross, both Marys were there. In fact, 3 Marys were there, but 2 to emphasize. Mary, who gave birth to the Christ principle, which is the number 9 process. The number 9 Hermit card. Isis, who gives birth to Osiris. Understand? That is what that is. And Scorpio, Mary Magdalene. It's the transformation, transmutation of our darkness, of our faults, of our evils, of our errors, that leads to enhancement of our instincts, our common sense, the depth of our wisdom, empowerment, that leads to a witnessing of the power of truth and wisdom, the authority of truth and wisdom as a result of that disillusionment. Scorpio. Virgo takes the high ground, Scorpio takes the underground to arrive at the same principle, which is the rebirthing of the Christ principle. Virgo gives birth to the Christ principle. Scorpio rebirths and regenerates the Christ principle. This is what has to be understood. And when you bring the 2 together, you have to follow Vesta. So Vesta en route, in transit during these 18 months are going to be key to understanding where we are at with downloading Southnode, Virgo, and North Node Pisces. North Node Pisces is number 7 vibration, Neptune and Jupiter. This is another context to discuss, but right now this is about number 9. So a lot of people think that number 9 is just simply completion, but completion in this sense, what it means is that we have completion with a material and physical realm. We have completion with the illusions of this world. We have learned those lessons is what that completion means. And because we have learned those lessons, we no longer need these things to experience for our evolution. And because we no longer need it, the divine schedule of this universe will make sure that we no longer have it because it's not needed. So extreme luxury, materialism, extreme decoration of the self, where you are spending hours and hours to make yourself look lustful and beautiful and attractive. All of the time and energy spent and invested in perfecting a personality, to make magic and sorcery out of your personality, to make witchcraft out of your personality, to be so charismatic to attract attention and validation to yourself. Hoarding up material, labels, luxury, lust and vanity with men and lust and vanity with women. Recreating over and over generational curses through these Venus addictions that we once had. We will be denied access to these things as a collective. And it's going to bless us. It's going to purge us. What's really going to bring this in? Chiron transiting Taurus. When Chiron gets to Taurus, this will become a full reality, where you will not be able to indulge in materialism. But it's going to bless your soul. It's going to free your soul. The North Node is at Pisces, giving us a reception of a spiritual redemption, a spiritual revolution, a spiritual import of ourself, faith, restoration, purification, salvation, a cleansing of the blood, a setting free of curses, a unification, understanding, compassion, healing, clarification, seeing the unity behind all things. But these things are first. These things are first. When you carry the number 9 vibration, the sources, the forces behind the infrastructure of this universe make sure that you do not get derailed, distracted, or attached to material or charms, witchcraft, magic, sorcery of this world. Therefore, sparkly things will not enter into your life. Distracting themes and people will not enter into your life. And if they do, you will lose it. That is the number 9 vibration. How do I know? I have the life path number 9. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Understand? And I know why. And I embrace it. As a result of losing these things, you gain portions of yourself through heaven. You gain divine identity of the self. You gain more authenticity with the self. You gain more authority with the self. You gain more power, divine power with the self. You gain wealth from heaven with the self. You gain a treasure chest of gems from the heavens with the self. The divine self gets activated, illuminated, ascended, actuated, expanded. Understand, we are stepping into our divine identities, which first starts with authenticity and common sense. Let's pay attention, let's align, let's embrace, and let's always seek to understand, not just be a bunch of fucking parrots and donkeys walking around here regurgitating shit that we don't know what the fuck we talking about. Let's really know this.